What's going on, guys? Stevie from the Window Masters here, and today I'm going to show you how to drill out an exhaust manifold stud. So here's the engine that you guys have been watching me toy with for the past couple of weeks, and I would be just putting it back into the truck, but one thing I noticed was I went and I started looking at where I was going to hoist it up again. And so normally this would be, let's orient this the proper way. Normally this one would be sort of like this, actually, like that. So, and I noticed this side was moving quite a bit, and that's when I realized one of these had snapped when I pulled the engine out. Snapping a stud, it's fairly common, so I wasn't too worried, but obviously it's another nuisance thing I have to do. I managed to get all the other bolts out just fine, some of them better than others. Obviously some are like just gone. Like this one, I'll never separate those two unless I really soak them. But I've got some new ones coming in because of this guy. So I'm going to do the drill out method here because these are cast iron heads. If you had aluminum heads, you can do the weld method and you don't have to worry about melting the surrounding block. But we're going to do the drill out method. So here's how we're going to start this. So you get your drill. I have my nice trusty Milwaukee drill here. And you put on the smallest drill bit that you have in your drill bit pack. So essentially we're going to go through the whole drill bit line up there. And you're going to drill a hole as straight and perfectly through it in the center as you can. Now, as you're drilling, be sure to use some kind of lubricant or you will burn out your drill bits, and this will become a very tedious job. So there's my little thing of industrial lubricant called Molly D. And I'm going to get started. And just in case you're curious, I'm starting with like a 16th drill bit. And I'm going to go all the way up to what is essentially a 3/8 stud. So I'm going to start by drilling it out, and I'll bring you back. So this is kind of embarrassing, but if there's one thing I try to do for you guys, I like to always give you an idea of exactly what happens on the channel during my videos, good or bad, because reality's like that. Not everything goes smoothly as you planned. And if you're wondering where I'm going with this, well, I left you saying that I was going to drill out the old stud and I was going to start with the smallest drill bit and work my way up. Well, I made it to drill bit number 4 and it snapped off inside the stud. And I'm telling you, if you want to see the whole world stop before your eyes and your heart skip a beat, that's it, because literally you're like screwed. So I tried rescuing myself, and 23 busted drill bits later, 1 extractor, I had given up on this method, yes, so that's why this is terribly embarrassing for me. And I decided to go with the method that I shied away from the beginning, which is using a welder. So basically what you do is you take a nut and you hold it over the stud that's flush with the engine block, and you try to connect some weld with the nut, and then you fill the nut in. So if you want to know what that looks like, this is it right here. This was the successful nut. And what do I mean by that? Well, it took me 9 tries to get it right. Mostly tweaking the heat and building up the weld so that it would work. But this was the result. As you can see, there's the 2 drill holes, the big ones, and that other small one there, you can see that brass color, that's the drill bit still stuck in there. So what I did is I built out some weld, which is why it's really thin there, and once I was able to make contact with the nut, then I just backfilled the nut. And so what happened is it was sticking in the block, and I took my box wrench and I just kept working it back and forth, back and forth. Finally, it just came out. Matter of fact, it came out even nicer than that. I have to give myself credit for that. Now, I don't know if that's because of the heat or the fact that, for the most part, all of the nuts and bolts and studs came out because I was soaking these things in deep creep. So really, other than this one being snapped off, the rest came out perfectly fine. And as you can see, they're all right there. And most of the threads, you'll notice, are actually kind of wet and sort of clean. And I attribute that to using the deep creep. So if you go about doing this, number 1, soak all the bolts and studs in deep creep several times a day for at least a week to really soften everything up. And then if you snap something and you have a welder, skip the drill out process, go right to this, because this process just works, okay? Yes, it took me 9 tries on the nut, but that was a matter of like 5 minutes working this out, okay? As opposed to hours screwing with drill bits, and yeah, that's just embarrassing. So there you are, guys. There's my honesty about how everything goes on this channel, and I really hope this helps you out. I know I wasn't able to demonstrate how this method works, but I think you probably have the idea. So just skip the drilling out method. If that's all you're left with, please just say a prayer or something and hope that you don't snap a drill bit off inside. And maybe you'll have better luck than I did at this process. But anyway, please try this. I know a lot of people shy away from taking headers off. I know it's a little more cramped in the engine bay. It's a lot easier when it's outside, but the procedures are the same. So please consider doing this, and definitely use penetrating oil like Deep Creep to make sure that you really loosen things up, because otherwise I think I probably would have snapped them all. So that's all for me, guys. Hit the subscribe icon over here. Check out some of the other videos that I have where I am much more successful at my method. I'm Stevie from the Minimasters. Thanks for watching.